it's basically an exclusion search. So anywhere the tax bill goes, excluding the zip codes of the city, give me their address because it's public knowledge. Now in Charlotte, they had it's a population of 534,000 people, but I got back a list of 17,000 out-of-state owners for only $40.
Wow.
Now, I couldn't afford to mail 17,000 people at that time, but I could mail 100 a week. And I'd start doing 1 and 2 deals a week because people were just handing me their houses. Let me give you a couple examples. Real deals. First one is an investor moved from Charlotte to California with his company. He had 11 houses. 10 were occupied. 1 was vacant. They had all been rehabbed in the last 3 years, so I had no maintenance on these things. And he just didn't want the hassle anymore of trying to manage them from that far. He deeded them all over to me in one big go. This whole deal was done through email, fax, and FedEx. At the very end of the deal, once it's completed, that's the only time I called him up to ask him for a testimonial. And I said, hey, just by the way, why'd you pick me? And he says, Duncan, I'm in California. I checked out your website. All the information was there, and it answered my questions, and your response was good. So now I had, in one day, 11 houses, over $1.1 million of capital in it. Yeah, real estate. It's great. Look, there was only probably about $200,000 worth of equity in it, but still. I had
only, yeah. Well, that's not too bad. You're looking at an 18%, margin. Let's just put it in perspective here, folks. Dell, which is Fortune 100 or Fortune 50 company, they have to operate at a net margin of 5%. And look at the multi-billion-dollar behemoth they are. So you got 18% margin, and was it 1 day or 1 week?
Yeah,
on 6 figures there, $200,000. That's amazing.
Yeah, by the time the faxes and FedEx came through, we got the whole deal closed within 3 weeks. So, but I had cash flow. That was, hey, this is great. So that was a real deal. Another deal, I sent this out, and the lady emails me, and she says, "Look, here's my house. It's in a very nice area on the lake up in Lake Norman in Charlotte." And I looked at it like, oh my gosh, there's just no equity in this thing. She had moved out of state because she had to take care of her sick mother, and she had this house sitting empty for 6 months. And I looked at it, I'm like, gosh, it's not really, there's no deal here. It's not foreclosure. I can't short sell the thing. There's just no equity in it. The payment's normal rent rate, so it's not going to cash flow really. I said, you know what? I emailed her back. I said, the best thing I could do to take off this hand is, if you paid me $8,000, and I just pulled a figure out of my head, pay me $8,000. I figure that'll cover me for 6 months of payments, so, until I can get a tenant in the thing.